We're recording!
Yay!
Hello, everyone!
Yay!
Say hello, chat. Chat in the chat. Say hello.
It's like
Let's see who's there. It's another Stories from the Smoke Room. It's the traditional show tonight. We're just going to be telling stories. And we've got an order, which was all decided through dice. So coming up...
It was decided through professionalism.
Yeah, and professionalism. So let's go through what we're all going to talk about. So, Platzer, you're up first. What's your story about?
So I thought I would talk about my adventures on BBC television on the popular quiz show Pointless.
Oh!
At last.
Yes.
Does that mean you've met Richard Osman?
I have. He is incredibly tall.
Is he?
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
he just
What-
got
was
so
that
much
noise?
joy.
No, save it. Save it.
Okay.
Save it.
Okay.
Mikey, you're going next. What's your story about?
I could have ended up a wedding DJ.
I can't wait for
True
this.
story.
Oh, that just gives me so much joy.
As someone who used to do DJing at weddings, can I just say you missed a bullet there, mate? Steph, you're next. What's your story about?
So we've all heard the popular phrase of what happens at the Christmas staff party stays at the Christmas staff party.
It's not
well,
tonight.
I'm about to spill the tea. Yeah. So, yeah, but
Oh, no.
we're going to refer to them as friend one and friend two for
Can we give them fake names?
legal reasons.
If we give them
No,
fake-
because I'll get confused and then I'll call them by their real name by accident.
We could give them fake
I'll be like,
names.
So Emma, Fred, yeah, so no, we're not, like,
What if
friend
okay.
one, friend two.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll think about it.
You've practiced this, haven't you? Adam, you're up next. What's your story going to be about?
It's a number of tales. We heard how Hannah has had fun interactions with celebrities. It's my top 3 worst interactions with celebrities.
Mm.
Also, some more celebrity goodness.
I wouldn't call any of these good for anyone involved.
And I'm just going to tell a beer story.
Yay!
Are you telling us how beer is made?
Now, you'll have to wait.
No.
You'll have to wait. That, my friend, is what they call drama.
We're actually going on a brewery tour with Dave.
It'd be like come outside. Remember that?
Yes,
Oh,
hell yeah, I
yeah.
did. I introduced someone to that yesterday because I forgot what it was. I was like, "We're watching an episode now."
Yeah.
We nearly watched Halloween Bread
What a theme tune.
with
What a
Pippin.
theme tune.
So,
Yeah.
I remember getting a message in like 2008 from a friend just with 2 words just saying, "Pippin's dead." Sad face. I was like,
Do you remember the episode with the fake dog poo?
"Yes!" And then the dog plays a joke on it. Ah!
No. Look, that was
Well, this descended into chaos much earlier than usual. It's only
I
7:38.
know, it's usually about 10 past 8 before it just starts going completely off the
You
rails.
don't understand. The dog plays a joke on the woman. Oh!
Can we
She
get
thinks it's
back
the
to
real
why
poo.
we're here? That was
It's
me
not
being
real.
aggressive then. So look, let's start it.
We
Chat,
haven't noticed.
chat. If you're there, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. We are looking at it. If you like what we're doing, then our Ko-fi link is at the bottom, and you can buy us a coffee. So do that as well, because that'd be nice. Makes us feel loved. So shall we kick this off then? So, ladies and gentlemen, going first. Round of applause, please. Hannah Platz.
Thanks. Thank you. So
What does Richard Osman smell
So-
like?
I didn't smell Richard Osman, but he is incredibly tall. Like if you've watched television's Pointless, you'll know that the things are on like 2 tiers, and we were on the top tier, and he walked over and was like eye level with us without coming up the steps. That's how tall he is. Right, how much detail should I go into? Right, so we decided to apply to go on Pointless for a laugh because my friend Sarah, she's like my best friend. when I go and visit her, she lives in London, what our like routine always was that I would get in, we'd put Pointless on the iPlayer, have a cup of tea and like watch it, and it was our thing. So then it came up that they were looking for contestants, and she says that it was my idea that we apply, and I think it was hers. So we don't really know how it happened, but you have to fill in a form. And it's quite in depth, and it has stuff like about how you know the other person and what you think of them, and it also has like what are topics that you like and what are ones that you don't like. And I couldn't think of anything to put, so on my dislike ones I put like tennis and the abolition of the Corn Laws. And
Wait, you don't approve of the abolition of the Corn Laws?
It's something that you don't know anything about. Like, I know that the Corn Laws was a thing. So I thought, this will make me look quirky.
Google what that meant.
Yeah.
Hold on.
What were the Corn Laws?
Oh, God, you had to... She doesn't know, Mike. That's the point.
No. It's complicated 19th century trade law.
So it's like literally laws.
On there.
Yeah, it's a Victorian set of laws putting tariffs on the trade of corn.
Yeah.
And then it was abolished by Robert Peel.
Yeah.
Oh, history degree!
Yay!
To be fair,
so-
putting that on the application was a pointless answer.
Right? I thought, I was like, come on, this will get me noticed. So we sent the thing off. And it was honestly about a year. Like the whole process takes so long. So it was about a year later, I got an email from them. No, she rang me and was like, oh, hello, I'm from Pointless. And I was like, oh, what? Okay. I was just walking down the street. And so we went in for like an audition. You have to audition. So we went to this hotel in London. And there's all these other people hanging around in their little pairs, all just kind of like, oh, hello, yes, hi. And they shuffle you into a little conference room. And they've got a flip chart and a pen, and you play a lo-fi version of Pointless, where the two girls were like hilarious, but they were like drawing the little thing going down to like, you scored, like whatever. So that was good. But like one of the topics was names of gladiators from the 1990s television show Gladiators. So, which I was obsessed with as a child. So I was like, yeah, I've got all the answers here. This is great. Do like a general knowledge quiz thing as well. And then you have to like come in your pairs and sort of just talk to the camera a bit. And me and my friend are both actors and are quite similar. So we were just like, oh, ha, 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 yeah, like blah, joshing around and in front of the camera and all that. Yeah, great. And we left. And then Sarah suddenly said to me, like, wait a second. Every time they asked us how we met, we said, oh, we met at university and we're hoping to move in together next year. And we never at any point said that we were friends. So we were like, oh.
You were a tick box.
We're a tick box. We suddenly, I was like, went back through them. They were getting like, how did you meet? And we were like, oh, we met at university and we lived together. Yeah, and we're probably going to like get a flat or something to like, yeah, we're hoping to move in together next year. And then it was like, oh, so maybe that's why we got on, because we were a lovable couple.
You were a tick box.
We did a bit of that, yeah. But that's fine by me because it means I get
that medal.
It took another long amount of time. So basically, they say like we want you on the show, but they have like more couples than they need, so that in case anyone drops out or anything, and they try and spread across the demographics for each one. So it's where you fit in. So we initially got a date that I think was in the April, and then they cancelled like the day before or something. They were like, oh no, like we've had to shift the days around and blah, blah, blah. Because they recorded.
We've already got the lesbian couple for this episode.
No, we've already got the LGBT quota. Yeah. Sorry.
We'll have you on for the special during Pride Month.
Yeah. So they were like, well, because we've cancelled you once, we'll definitely try and fit you in. And we literally got in on the last but one day of filming for that block. So they filmed like April to September, 4 days a week, 4 shows a day. So they were recording like 3 seasons at once. Yeah. So by the time it actually got on TV, it was like a year and a half after we filmed it because they were working through all the ones. So we've just managed to get in. So I'm trying to think what bits to keep in the story because there's quite a lot to it. So basically you go down there and it's mega early and you all just kind of hang out there and they take you to this sort of, it's like in between 2 buildings at Elstree. There's just a kind of like marquee type thing. And you just have to stay there all day until they might need you. So we sat there for the whole, I think we got there about 7 a.m. and we stayed there all day till like 5 p.m. You get your meals brought to you. You're just like, oh, here's your lunch and like, here's your dinner. And like, we were just kind of sat there. There's a little coffee machine in the corner. And we just sat there watching people go in to do the quiz, being like, okay. We ended up playing Cranium with some of the runners because we were all bored. We were just like,
have they got a Connect 4?
Potentially, there might have been actually. There were board games. Yeah, and there was a little TV in the corner that had Challenge TV on, so you could like watch quizzes and get scared.
This is where you're going to be repeated until you die.
It does come up on Challenge sometimes. And I get like a Facebook message like, "Did I just see you on Pointless?" Like, yes, you did. That was me. Thank you.
You get royalties.
So there's 4 shows a day. So it got to the 4th show, and they wanted us on. And so we were like, "Oh, okay, right," because you're like, the sort of adrenaline's gone by then. You're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So they have like the makeup people literally spray you with fake tan with a gun. Like, it was amazing. It was like, it looked like a tattoo gun, but it was like, psh, and it just like sprayed it on there. It was amazing. And then they come around with these big like hold-alls of makeup and just like do shit to you. I don't know.
They do makeup on you.
And so we went to go through, there's like double doors into the studio, and Sarah, my friend Sarah, was quite nervous, and she turned to me and went, "Oh God, what if they ask me about the Beatles?" And I was like, "They won't. Don't be stupid. It's going to be fine. Like, stop panicking about random things." And we went in there, and it was like a bit like there's not many people in the audience.
Foreshadowing.
And I can tell you now, like, the secret's out. Richard Osman's laptop is not real. That is fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went in
You've
there.
broken the illusion of television to Steph. Not everything on TV is real, Steph. I'm sorry.
You're going to get a knock on the door
Hang on a
tomorrow.
second. There isn't a place called Coronation Street.
No, you're thinking of the chicken.
I'm really sorry, Steph. I'm really sorry. It's not true. Albert Square.
Thunderbirds are actually puppets as well. I'm sorry.
They're what?
Yeah, Captain Scarlet's real though. You can see it when they use his hands.
Okay.
So yeah, and so there's like all these rules about what you can wear. They send you this massive pack of information before you go, and it's like you can have these colors and this pattern, but not that pattern, but not that color with that color. And you're like, oh my God. And you have to take like 5 outfits with you, and the people pick the ones that they deem worthy and put them on a hanger and all of this stuff.
Worthy.
Yeah, they're like, no, they go into a color test. They're like, will this work with the background of the show? And
what happens if none of your outfits are worthy?
I don't know. I think you have to wear your pants and vest like in PE.
Is it like school where you have to pick up something from lost property?
Yeah, you have to get something out of the bucket.
Oh, not the bucket. The bucket is smelly. The smelly bucket.
Because then, like, they play the music, and you're like, "Oh my God!" That's the Pointless music, and you're like, "Oh my God!"
At what point did you meet Richard Osman?
I'm getting it. So Richard comes over and and you have a little chat. And he like goes along, and Alexander Armstrong comes along as well. He's got a very good handshake. I mean, he's got
I didn't know where that was going then.
Armstrong has a strong arm. Yeah. So they have a little chat with you, and it's like really nice. And
Armstrong, strong arms.
strong arm, yeah, strong
I love
arm.
it.
Sounds strong arms. And
What?
yeah, so we're like,
Sounds
okay,
good.
cool. So the first topic was like, I can't remember what the thing was called, but
Oh,
I know. Oh, it was like hero.
hurry up, I'm so
thing.
invested.
the anyway, I got the best answer, which was Leonidas, the king of Sparta. Great. So we were like
Okay.
feeling quite good. Sarah got a good answer as well. Oh, it was just history. That's it. It was just history. So yeah. So we were on the fourth. So to decide which podium you're on, they come into the little marquee where you're all sitting with this cloth bag full of like bingo balls, and everyone chants, "Balls, balls, show us your balls, balls, balls." It's amazing, right?
It's not
We're like,
amazing. It's not amazing.
It's great. So
It's
yes,
not.
What's
Yeah.
great is, given what I know about Richard Osman, that was probably his idea.
probably, yeah. Yeah.
Because the man is a child.
Yeah.
Absolute
It was
child.
great. So you pick a ball out of the thing and it has 1, 2, 3, or 4 on, and that's what podium you're on. So we were 4. And yeah, so that was all fine. So we were the lowest scoring people of the first round. We were like, yeah, fuck you. We're
And
great.
that's good, isn't it? On point.
Yeah. So you've got to get the most obscure.
It's
Yeah.
like golf.
The next round comes along and it comes up Liverpudlian pop. And you see on the TV me turn to Sarah and go, and people on Twitter commented on my face. They were like, imagine doing that face when the question's about the Beatles. Like, everyone knows about the Beatles. Like, yeah, okay, fuck you, Jeff from fucking Lincoln.
Still bitter.
Wow.
Still
Is
bitter.
that- yeah, still
That wasn't
angry.
even the worst thing that people said a bunch of horrible stuff about me. It was great. Well, I love the internet. Yeah, no. Yeah, so the question was Beatles #1 hits that have an L, an O, a V, or an E in the title. So I was like, well, I always said that if a Beatles question came up, I would just say 8 days a week. So I was like, that begins with E. So I said that, and I knew that it was on the One, you know, the album that's just called One.
Yes.
I was like, so it must be a #1 hit. Turns out, no, only in America, not in the UK. So it doesn't count.
Ah,
So I was like, well, that's
what is this
rich.
nonsense?
What is this? And so before we came on, I just said to her, like, when she was like, what if they asked me about the Beatles? I'm like, just say I am the walrus. So she did. And it was obviously it was like a double A side or a B side or something. So it didn't fully count. So we got 200 points, which is the worst you can get.
Oh.
So we had to leave, and it was like, oh no. But because it was the end of the day, it meant we had to then come back and do it all again the next morning.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So we were like, oh, great.
Why?
Well, because that was the end of the filming day. So you get your
It's
second
like-
go.
Oh, so
So
it's
it would
like
be
a
the
second
first
round.
one
Carry
of the
over in
next
it.
day. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
John,
you're on
just
twice.
put you're on twice. I didn't realise.
So and it's quite far because my friend she lives in South London, so it was quite far to get to Elstree, which is like about half an hour from King's Cross North. So anyway, we like went back and we were like, oh, you know, we were unlucky, but at least we actually said the names of Beatles songs, because the girl on the other team said like an Elton John song, so that's fine.
What an
Like,
idiot.
Yeah, so like at least we actually said songs by the right band, like, you know, just like consoling
I hope
ourselves.
she's watching.
We like,
Yeah.
yeah, hope you're watching. No, really nice. Everyone was really nice. Like literally everyone in the whole, like everyone we met who worked there were all like really lovely.
Question. Did you add each other on Facebook after?
No,
I always
Which we
wonder.
had to do- the second day we made friends with this really cool couple called Alan and Sue, I think, and they were really fun. We should have made friends with them. Yeah.
I always thought about that, about Deal or No Deal, because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure like,
You spend a lot of
People
time
on-
with those people on that.
People on Deal or No Deal.
Isn't that
got
their
married.
family on Deal?
No, that's
Isn't that
family
their family?
Family
fortunes.
fortunes you're thinking of.
No, I thought their family had the boxes.
Oh, I
No.
don't know.
Oh
No.
yeah. Oh.
Yeah, they did on.
Oh.
Yeah,
special
don't
edition
laugh at me,
on-
bitch.
I don't know.
I think
I'm a
it
pointless
might be
girl.
the-
I don't watch Deal or No Deal.
It
Is
might
it
be
family?
the celebrity ones. Like,
I don't
what?
flash care,
They
no.
have a celebrity do it, and then it's the celebrity family. I think
Oh, okay.
they should bring that back. It's great.
Anyway,
Come
how
play it.
what happened next?
So,
And
so we went back to her flat and like we got I think we got Wagamamas delivered and it was all fine. And the next morning we went to go get the bus back to the station to get like 2 more trains, and I didn't have my card. And I realized that I hadn't had it since come back on the bus the day before. Because I'd ordered the Deliveroo, like just with my details were saved on there. So I was like, oh shit, and it had just gone. So I looked on my online banking, and someone had been using it all around Tooting with contactless payments, just having a great old time. And I'm like, oh fucking hell. So I had to I'm on the phone to like the fraud people at the bank. Sarah's on the phone to Pointless, being like, we are coming. It's all like, oh my god, like we're holding up production of this massive, like huge wheel of like oh Jesus Christ. So we're trying to get there, so I couldn't get on the bus because they don't take cash anymore. It's only contactless card or Oyster. I didn't have an Oyster card, so I had to walk to the station so my friend could buy me a ticket to get. So we were late getting there, so it was like bright red, and like the makeup woman's trying to just spray over the top of it, making it melt, and we're like, and like just put these clothes on and then literally like pushed us through the door of the thing, like oh my god. So it was like so stressful, and we're like, oh my god, we've got to do a quiz now, and I'm like, I haven't got my money, and like the guy on the bank was like not very helpful, and it was like, oh my god.
Just
And,
imagine, right, as you were pushed through the curtain onto the set of Pointless,
Yeah.
that they're all there waiting for you, and Richard Osmond would have just gone.
Oh no, it would have been the worst thing.
No,
You can't disappoint Richard.
it's like that, but like up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So it was really
Such a foolish tiny lady.
the head producer guy came down from his like cabin thing to come and say, oh, I heard that you had your card stolen, like are you okay, like have you got money to get home, and like was really lovely about it. So I was like, oh, thank you. Richard Osman came over to say hello to us, and we were like, oh, we're hoping to do a bit better today. And he was like, oh yeah. And then I think I said something to him about how we were robbed, and like it should have counted or something. I think I was probably quite horrible because I was stressed, but I tried to do it in a jovial way. That's the Platts way. So I was just like, well, at least we said the right band, not like those other people. And he was like, yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah. So it was the second day, and we had been chatting to Alan and Sue. Everything was fine. And the first round was a literary question. It was like book titles that also have body parts in them. I think it was something like that. Yeah.
I'm such a fucking idiot. I went, ooh, the Hand of the Baskervilles. What the fuck am I talking about?
Yeah, that would have been.
That would have been 100.
It was something like
that would have been 100, but also replayed on the Christmas blooper reel at the end of the year.
Yep.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly. It was something to do with book titles anyway, and you get the letters and the author, and you say what the book is. So I went first, and I think it was Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which is always the answer on Pointless. So, because we'd watched so many Pointlesses, we were like, okay, it'll be Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner, and it's Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. It's always on there. And it came up, and I was like, I'll take Heart of Darkness, please. Thanks very much. And that was great. And then Sarah got like an Ernest Hemingway book that was like great. And then the next round was football. And it was like, oh, shit. Because like, obviously, I don't know anything about football. at all. And so the question was countries that have played at least 10 matches in the World Cup. Right.
Okay.
So it was coming down the line towards us, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus fucking Christ!" And
you needed to have approached that differently, as not being about sport, but being about geography.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, because when I worked in the theatre, we did a fantasy football league, which I joined in on just for like shits and giggles. And I remember that one of my players played for Ivory Coast, and I was like, "That's probably a good shout.
That's a good
I'll
shout.
say that." And it was coming down the line.
Cote d'Ivoire, yeah.
And yeah, Cote d'Ivoire. And
Show
Lucky
off.
Sue said
Shut
like
up, Adam.
Uruguay, and somebody else, there was two guys in the middle, like older guys, and they were really good. So they said something obscure that got like a few points. And then I made Sarah go first. That was it. No, I went first, and I was like, "Look, I can do my risky one." But I did that yesterday, and I could have just said Eleanor fucking Rigby and we would have got through. But I decided to try and be clever.
That famous remix, Eleanor fucking Rigby.
Eleanor fucking Rigby.
Please tell me you did actually say Eleanor fucking
Rigby. And
Eleanor fucking Rigby. Yeah, bitch.
and I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna be like, right, Sue said Uruguay, and that's made me think Argentina do a lot of footballing. I'm gonna say that. So I said Argentina, and it was obviously quite a high score.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
but I'd said out loud, like, I've got a risky one, but I think I'm gonna play safe and just say Argentina and hope for the best. And so
Sensible.
Sarah pulled Croatia out of somewhere, and that was like a really low score.
Oh,
Like,
hang on.
Clip that, John. John, clip that.
My wife, she is a very talented lady.
Sarah pulled Croatia out of somewhere.
And that only scored about 2, so all right. And then the two guys in the middle, they got something really obscure and good. And then it was Alan and Sue, lovely Alan and Sue. And Alan said Ivory Coast, and I was like, my answer. Oh, and it was wrong, because it only took 9 games, not 10. So it was just wrong.
Oh.
And Richard Osman said, "Oh, Hannah, what was the one you were going to say?" And I was like, "I was going to say it. I was going to say it, and I didn't say it." And he was like, "Okay, cool."
Oh dear.
This whole time, what you don't see on the broadcast is that there was a butterfly loose in the studio, and no one could catch it. And it was coming in. It was landing on the screen, on the answers. It landed on Richard Osman. It landed on his desk, and like it was flying in front of like Alexander's face. And at that point, it flew down and landed on the back of the two guys in front of us, and I could see it. So the whole time, like, and me and Sarah were looking at each other and looking at the butterfly. So on the TV, they're going like this, like staring at the sky. Trying to, and then they were like, as soon as they said cut, I was like, the butterfly's here. And I was like, and the floor manager guy came over and scooped it up and took it away. So, but it looks really weird on TV because we're like both really tense and like staring at the guy's back like we hate him, but it's that we're trying not to let the butterfly escape. But they managed to edit it out somehow, so you don't see that other thing. Yeah, so we got through, like just through the skin of our teeth. So it's like the head-to-head then, and normally, so on the head-to-head they have like the golden one and the blue one podiums. The golden one is for the person who's done the best so far. But we'd got exactly the same number of points. So they were
that's awesome.
So they did it on the other couple, the two old guys. I don't know their names, that's why I'm calling them that. They were on podium 3 and we were 4, so they did it chronologically. So they were the golden one, and we were the blue one. And so the first question was about Great British Bake Off. So I was like, hello, thanks very much. So it was pictures of cake, and you had to say what they were. And we got the best answer because it's cake and bake off, and it's these little profiteroles that are like 2 profiteroles called religieuses because they look like little nuns. So we got that. Excellent. The second,
And so you remembered, like, have I been sick on this profiterole? Is it like a nun? I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And suddenly the faces of all those nuns that were on the bus singing in 4-part harmony as I vomited everywhere came back to me. And I thought, this is my recompense.
Those healthier
Yeah.
days of the first show.
Yeah.
What a time.
Oh, look at that. And then the second question was about celebrities that have gone into politics. So
Right.
so it's like Ronald Reagan. And there I was like, okay, I know that the mayor of like Carmel by Sea is Clint Eastwood because I've been there and everyone talks about how he's the mayor. So that's definitely right. And the other question was a Filipino boxer who became like not prime minister, but whatever you call it, like and I said to Sarah, like, I don't know why, but I think it's Manny Pacquiao, and I don't know how I know it. And I don't know if it's right, but in my heart, I want to say that that's Manny Pacquiao. And she was like, well, let's just go for that then. I was like, it might be wrong. And like what they edited out our little like lovers spat where we were like, but it might be wrong. And she's like, no, just say that one. I'm like, no, but what if but the safe answer? And she's like, no. And so, so we said Manny Pacquiao, and that was what the other guy's answer was going to be. So they got to go first on the first question because they were the golden one. We got to go first because we were the blue podium and we stole their answer, basically, which is the best answer on the board. So all of this is like luck.
So what what did you win?
So we got to the final, yeah. So that's why I brought this with me to show you.
Oh,
Oh my god! That's so good.
Now, obviously, the quality's very bad.
Yeah.
Could you take photos
I'll
and
take
then
a photo,
we'll
yeah.
put them on the Twitter account and on
Yeah.
Instagram?
I will.
So you won. That's like.
Yeah. So then you have to you get your trophy, and then you have to try and win the money.
Okay.
And so the options that we had for the last question were like ridiculous. It was like it was something like 1950s acid jazz or something, and like which would have been great for Adam.
Go on.
Um,
Thank you. It's the shirt that makes me the.
I think it was the Queen album Night at the Opera was one of them, and I was like panicking in the moment, like I can't remember which album any songs come from at all. And so we ended up choosing American crime novels was one of them, and so we ended up choosing Star Trek films.
Okay.
So
Obviously.
the question was answering.
I'm in love with my cars on in Night at the Opera.
You what?
So
Well,
that
you
again,
would have.
I'm in love with my cars on Night at the
Oh.
Opera. Carry on. I'm in
Um,
love with my car. The B-side to Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. I don't know where the B-sides
Carry
count. Anyway, so yeah, you had to answer people that had been in the original Star Trek film, Generations, the first of the Next Generation ones, and the first one with Chris Pine in.
Okay.
Yeah, but you only get 60 seconds as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I was sort of being like, okay, cool. So there's no point in saying like this and this and this, and like, okay, there's no point in saying like Patrick Stewart or anyone like that. And I'm trying to like filter through, and I'm like, what's the guy's name who plays Worf? What's the guy's name? It's like Michael. It's like, and I'm like trying to like go through my mind palace to be like, Muh. So we ended up
Your
saying,
thought process, Hannah, feels quite similar to the stress I went through during New York.
yeah. So you're just trying to filter through all of the, yeah.
Thinking all of the things in like
Yeah. trying to fit everything in a short amount of time. Yeah. And so we ended up saying like, I was like, okay, well, let's say, I was like, there's the poor lad who died, Anton Yelchin. There's definitely Carl Urban is in it. And then I was like, desperately going through, like, I was there like, there's Patrick Stewart, and then who sits next to him? And then there's like, So I was like, we're just gonna have to say Brent Spiner and it won't be pointless. So yeah, Brent Spiner was like 7 points, and Anton Yelchin was 2 points, and Carl Urban was 2 points. So we didn't get the pointless answer. But one of the pointless freaking answers was Jonathan Frakes, who I was like, he directed that film as well. And I was like, why did I not think of saying that? And Sarah said, in my mind, I was thinking, who's the bearded guy? But I didn't want to put you off your thought train.
I have to say, I've never been so alienated by anything every minute.
So
you'd be saying anything and I'd believe you.
Yeah. So you didn't get the money?
No. But we did get the trophy.
Okay. If you'd have got the money, how much would it have been? I'm sorry, I don't watch Pointless. How much would it have been? If you'd have...
Well, it's like a rollover thing, so it was up to $3,000 at that point.
What was it?
Yeah.
It was $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a life-changing amount of money on Pointless.
No. Because then it goes back down to 1 when someone wins it, sort of thing. It's not like,
Okay. Have we got any questions from the chat on that? Jonty's just put lots of random life questions in there. What's the key to a sustainable relationship?
He thought it was the Ron.
No idea, Jonty.
There was that one point where you talked about them coming in with the bag and going balls.
Balls.
Jonty put, I've had nights like that.
I've got a couple of questions. Firstly, were you embargoed? And secondly,
you can't tell anyone that you won. Yeah. You can't say anywhere that you won or anything like that. Yeah, and it was probably like 18 months after we filmed it that it actually came on TV. So then we could finally be like, by the way, we're on Pointless. And Sarah has still never watched it because she was so mortified by the whole process. She was like, no, I can't do it. She's never seen it.
Did you ever get that flat together?
No.
A
relationship is strong, guys.
And then it would be. I wanted you to fall in love, and then it would be.
We are in love. We're desperately in love.
But if you'd have got
made in Pointless.
If you had have got the flat together, would you have used the trophies as bookends?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It might still happen. You
never know.
Yeah. I live in.
Is it on YouTube? Can we watch it?
It was. I think it is on. It definitely has been on YouTube because we mention on it our theatre company because we say that's what we want the money for, and somebody messaged us from our website saying, hello, I'm in Australia and I just watched you on Pointless on YouTube and I thought you did very well. You came across very well and I wish you, well in your endeavours.
That's so lovely.
Do you know what series and episode it is?
It's season 18, episode 50, I think. Yeah. That's the one.
If anyone in the chat wants to just go dashing onto YouTube,
just go
see if you can find it. If you can, put a link in the chat. That'd be great.
Watch along next week.
We could do.
I've got long hair in it, which is weird seeing me with long hair now. My hair's like longest.
No, we won't be judging you on your long hair.
Thanks.
Hannah Platts, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.
I believe that was officially the longest story I've ever had.
Yeah, sorry, it was quite long.
It was. So everyone else has got 2 minutes.
Sorry.
I mean, that works for me perfectly.
Mikey, tell us about when you was very nearly a wedding DJ.
So, one of the sort of the go-to games we used to play when we visit my nan as kids, would be discos in the kitchen,
Right.
which basically sort of involves getting every cardboard box my nan's got at that point, and then sort of making the facade of like DJ decks, and then like we get
so cute.
we get crayons. We get crayons and colour the front as though it was lights.
Yeah.
And then I'll make me sign like Mike's disco, and like we basically just like have a party in the kitchen using my granddad's tape deck and cassettes as music. So basically for like the neighbours and whoever was round. So Africa by Toto was always a big hit. And lot of Patsy Cline,
This
lot
is
of Matt Monroe. That
this
sort of
sounds
thing.
just like every wedding I've ever been to.
Yeah, totally. And then, so it's if we go forward a couple of years, it's my sixth birthday, and I come home from school. And I'll hear Agadoo by Black Lace playing from the lounge
Oh no.
quite loudly.
Oh no.
I turn the corner,
Oh no.
and there at the bottom of the lounge is some DJ deck. And like, you know, those lights that are like traffic lights, that like bar going across?
Yeah.
There's like a set of those, and one of those siren lights that sort of turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah. That go to the beat of the music too, so it's dead cool. And like all my family around, and like, they're like, "Oh, Mike, come look at this." And like, I'm just like completely away with it in absolute euphoria. And then I go behind this deck, and there's like a little mixing deck with buttons and dials and flashing lighting displays, and it's genuinely the best thing ever. And my 6th birthday, we spent like doing this disco for like everyone who comes round and like comes round to drop off a present, and like I forced them to.
What
like,
do you want?
Yeah, and it's like I had a turntable and my granddad's CD player with and it, like Rock Around the Clock was a favourite because that always got them up.
Yeah, fills the dance floor.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. And then we jump forward again a couple of years, and I'm probably like year 3 at this point, so probably 7 or 8. And my mum and auntie are on the PTA, and just so happens that in this particular meeting, somebody mentions about the next school disco, and I don't know what made her do this. My mum goes, Mike's got some DJ stuff. I'm sure he'd love it. We can we can all do it. And they were like, yeah, great. So Mum, I come home from school, and Mum's like, oh, by the way, you're doing your next school disco. And I'm like, what? So sort of what happens is, over the next week, I basically have to do market research around the playground and sort of ask people what songs they would like.
Because literally all you've got is Rock Around the Clock and Patsy Cline's Greatest Hits.
Effectively.
Africa by Toto.
I just imagine you in the middle of the playground go, does no one like Patsy Cline?
I've got the soundtrack to the African Queen. If you want to listen to that as well, Mike, it'd be great.
This is before digital download too. So if you've not got it, you've got to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, and I remember hearing remember Who Let the Dogs Out by the Bar Harmony.
How could we forget?
Oh, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
How could we forget that song?
Yeah. And I remember hearing that for the first time.
Actual banging tune.
I'm thinking, they'll really love this. So it's like, Mum, we gotta get we let the dogs out by the bar, Harmon. She said, what? I said, trust me, people will really love it. And it got to the day of the disco, and the plan was that I wasn't going to go home. As soon as school had finished, I would go down to the hall, and like my parents would be there to like, you know, it was a proper family affair. So like, my dad was there, mum, aunt, like uncle would come from after, like when he'd finished work and stuff. Because we like, I should say that my cousins were also at this school. Like they just hadn't like turned up to a random school to watch me do it. And then I walk into the school hall, and the first thing I see is my mum trying to lasso a set of rope lights over some PE operators, and it's still genuinely the absolute commitment on her face to this day is still amazing.
Was it the metal fold-out PE apparatus, the blue one
It is, you know, the climbing
that every
ladders,
primary school had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the
My
wooden
primary-
climbing ladders, yes.
Yeah. My primary school was Victorian and sort of had been there since the dawn of time and had not been sort of like, and had only pretty recently got ramps at this point. So it was like proper old, but it was character building. It had character. But the really great thing about the disco and doing them was, of course, the tuck shop. Because what that meant was I had basically, because my mum was there, and I could just ask her. Oh, it wasn't like all the other kids that like had allowance. And I basically had all of the Panda Pop and edible bingo paper. And this is great. And and then the disco started. Now, like, what we did was it was very much, you know, it was very much a group effort. At one side, like in a line, there would be my auntie, whose job would be to sort of, like, she was the first point of contact, if you like, to the kids. So if they had like requests, they would put it to her, and then she would say, like, have we got this? And then my mum would sort out the disc, and then my dad would like, she would pass the disc on to my dad, and he'd sort of cue up the music, and then my dad would shout to me in my ear, "Who let the dogs out by the barn?" And then every time a track finished, I'd be like, "And now, boys and girls, bearing in mind, like, I'm also 8 at this point." So, had I not been doing, I'd probably been there anyway. So you see how this dynamic is a bit weird.
This is basically how it works when top level DJs play. They usually have people queuing everything up for them, and they just it's who let the dogs out, barman? Good.
So I go, what was that? Done, Steve? What's that? So I go, who let the dogs out by the bar, man? And I kid you not, everyone. I've got all these fellow 8-year-olds just lose their shit. And
Yes!
Yeah, it's absolutely like that.
I did. It was me. I let the dogs out. Yeah.
I'm just thinking. I've got all of the Panda Pop and edible bingo paper or whatever, and like,
and the love of the crowd.
Like, I'm essentially a godlike figure. Like, this is genuinely one of the best things ever. This is great. And then, like, on one occasion, like, I did this sort of discos for years until my sisters left, which was sort of some years later. So I'd be at secondary school, but we still go back and do these discos.
Dad, you
Oh
want
my
speed
God.
dial? We've got a disco
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
Mikey, we need you. We
Get
need
the
you.
red,
Yeah.
get the red phone out.
Like-
We're phoning Mike.
But
Is
it
Mikey still
wasn't-
free? As in, we don't have to
Yeah.
pay him, right? Cool.
Has Mikey still got the bar, man?
No,
Yeah.
no, I'd get like £10 in an envelope at the like
Aww.
at the end.
That is
at the end of the night.
only schools pay kids in envelopes. No one else does it. But every time I got cash from school, it was always like, it's in an envelope with your name on, Mr. Unwin.
And there's one point where I was about 14, and one of the parents comes up to me behind the disco. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, stay in your lane.
Yeah, this is
you
in
know,
your world.
this is-
This is for the talent.
well, this is like my domain. But he comes up to me and my dad, and he sort of, like, there's music going on at this point, so he's shouting, and he says, just like, so you know, like, I run a agency for DJs, and you're really good. So if ever you reach a point where you want to do this, like, let me know. I can't remember what actually my response was, but I assume it was something along the lines of, nah, you're all right. I want to do theatre. So,
And then you realised you were not going to get paid £10 in an envelope doing theatre.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's thrown at you with
£10.
coins.
Yeah. Talk about sliding doors moment. Actually, probably a
Film
good
fucking
job I
sucks.
didn't go into it like as a proper thing, because me and my dad only ever did one other disco at a different place. It was at another primary school that we got through a family member, like Lane was the one who worked there who needed like a DJ, and we were sort of put forward. And so it was just me and my dad at this point. So me and my dad turn up at this school.
I like the fact that your dad's already sacked your mum off. Oh, I could get him out the boxes. You don't need you. Taking 10%. Go on.
Yeah.
She would have had like a sewing
Oh,
class.
that quid, yeah.
Yeah. So she would have had a sewing class or something, I reckon. And so me and Dad turned up at this school, but the thing was, we didn't have our own PA. Like, the sound system we always used belonged to the school. And it turns out that this other school didn't have one either. So the only PA we had, the only means of amplification whatsoever, was a karaoke brought from Argos. And then, so we're thinking, it'll be all right. And so sort of these kids sort of like run into the hall where this disco is, and it very quickly becomes apparent that this isn't going to be your average street disco. Basically, what happens is the lights are kept on for the whole thing. Like, don't know why. I think maybe like the kids kept like turning them on, like, and they would like. We basically just sat through what was like a game of tag that had essentially been organised by the older kids. And because we were so
Absolutely.
quiet,
That's what
Yeah.
happens at school discos.
Yeah.
You've got kiss
Well,
price.
well,
Because you've got to
clearly,
bag
like,
your man before the slow song at the end of the night.
well, clearly I'm quite naive. I was not expecting this because we were sort of too quiet for them, right? So they couldn't hear us, and so they were really loud too. So by the end, it was just like she just sort of give up. It was like she sort of sat there for 2 hours, looked at my dad, and went, "I'm actually quite sad." She went, like, this is really not a enjoyable thing. So that was my sort of foray into sort of DJing. But to sort of finish off, I did my last disco at my old primary school just before I was about to go into GCSE. So, and basically what happened was, at the end of the last disco, the head teacher comes to the front, sits them all down. You know, like they've got to sort of wait there for their parents to pick them up. So they sort of, made to wait really patiently with their arms crossed. So the head teacher sits them all down, and she says, "It's Michael's last disco today, and we'd like to wish him and his family the best of luck for the future, and we're really pleased that they've done this for us over many years."
Aw.
And the whole I've got a room full of kids who at this point, like, because I've been like left at least 6 years at this point now, so I know none of them, and they're all sat there going, "Oh," and it was just genuinely like, I know I can come across a bit of a knobhead, but it was genuinely one of the most life-affirming times of my life ever.
All these kids were thinking, next year who's going to play Who Let the Dogs Out?
But
God.
the only disco I didn't do was my Year 6 leavers one, and everyone says it wasn't as good. So I guess that's a win.
That's vindication
Yeah,
right there. That's what
yeah.
you want to hear.
Yeah.
Go,
So,
Mike.
in your in your face.
I'm absolutely down with you there, because I also used to pretend to be a DJ when I was like a little kid. I thought it was
magic, innit?
I used to look, when you go to a wedding or something as like a 6-year-old, and I used to watch the DJ going, that must be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And then I got to do it, and it really isn't. It really isn't.
Do you know what it was?
Why are you?
What?
I think it's to do, like, he's quite performative in it as a thing. Like, the DJ turns up and like they're sort of the performers, and like there's sort of a liminal space, like, i.e. the depth that like other people can't cross, and it's sort of like quite cool. Like,
Everyone
feels
likes to
quite
go
cool
through a
to
door
be in
marked
charge.
private.
Mm.
It is.
Is that what you call it?
Look,
Is that what you call it, David?
you're in charge of everybody's
Going through
night.
a door marked private.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in charge of everybody's
Although,
night.
like, although I am sort of gutted that, like, the only reason that I would have done a wedding would be to play Needle in a Haystack, because that always seems to be the song that is, like, is it even a wedding if like Needle in a Haystack hasn't been played?
Well, I mean, Needle in a Haystack is probably the second greatest song ever made.
Yeah.
And if you,
It's the
it was actually, in all seriousness, it was one of our kind of, it was like the canary down the mine. So once the night started, if you put on Needle in a Haystack and no one dances, you're just playing background music for the night.
Yeah.
It's pointless carrying on.
Yeah.
Because what are you people dead? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a song the mums get up to.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
mum
what it is.
dance,
It's not
that
a good
is.
song. It's a mum dance.
I know
It's
it.
a fucking great song. It's
Is it?
a fucking great song.
I
It's
can't.
a mum dance song.
picture it.
So, can the chat
It's
put
a
link?
mum dance,
Hannah?
and the dads do think Northern Soul's cool.
Is this the mum dance?
Don't start
Yeah, that's the
knocking.
mum dance.
Don't start knocking.
Yeah,
Northern
that's
Soul.
It's that.
Oh,
It's that.
knock
It's
it.
I once saw
Oh,
someone at
it's
a
the-
wedding.
oh,
do this
I've had
Yeah.
I've had some wine,
Yeah.
Mary. I've had some wine. Ooh.
I
Is that
once
what
saw
it's that
someone do
song? It's the
at a wedding that I've never forgotten that goes like this. Just shaking your finger. She did it for hours.
oh,
For-
that's
for
a good.
I
That's
was
a good
like,
mum dance.
My mum dances like that. My mum dances like that. My dad dances like that, and I've got no idea what this is, but he does it all the time.
Oh my god, I
and he
love
probably
that.
thinks he's cool. Yeah, like
That's
his
how I'm gonna
surprise
dance
50th
from now
birthday,
on.
all of his friends, like they were all in their 50s, they all gathered on the dance floor and they did this at each other and a bit of air guitar, and they were absolutely buzzing off their heads. Like it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And my only
See, this
regret
is just
I
more
didn't get
proof
a
that we
recording
should just
of it.
give. We should just give people who are over 50 a large amount of drugs and just let them dance. But it has to be like full on MDMA. Like
yeah, definitely.
I'm looking it up because I can't. Right.
Needle in a Haystack's a brilliant song.
So isn't the Rockets?
I think it's something like that.
Velvet Singing.
It's one,
The
one of
the
those.
Vel-
No, he's still got
Velvet?
it in his collection.
Yeah, it was that Motown factory, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A couple of things
Yeah.
from the chat. Hannah,
Oh, yeah.
Jonty's found the subtitles to the episode. Pointless that you were in.
Wonderful.
So we can read.
Yeah,
We can read what you said. I hope those subtitles
I
say,
can reenact it for you.
"Strange tall woman at the back stares intently at someone's back." If they don't and they are editable, they will be edited. It was by the Velvetettes.
Nice, thanks.
Sarcasm is. My brother used to be an imaginary DJ on the keyboard playing the sample songs. Done that as well.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
DJ.
Jonty's,
DJ.
yeah.
DJ.
1, 2, 3, 4. DJ.
DJ.
Yeah.
Dictionary.
And Jonty has said he can't find a socialist link, but he has found a link to the episode on Now TV and on Sky Go.
Oh, there you go.
Cool.
So yeah, there you go. That's brilliant. Thank you, Mike. Mikey Southern, ladies and
Cheers,
gentlemen.
Mikey.
Pleasure.
So we've now got 25 minutes.
We've now got 25 minutes. So 3 stories to go. We've got 3 minutes each.
Our show solid crew, so pay the listeners down.
Steph,
Not good maths.
Hello.
what goes on at the staff Christmas party stays at the staff Christmas party, unless you're
Oh, I
Steph
forgot that was the
Loftus.
topic. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
So before I start, I need to apologise to Mike because I lost concentration with your story halfway through because both of my cats sat bolt upright and stared at the front door, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm gonna get murdered live on like Twitch." Like it proper scared me. So like all of a sudden you'll see me on
That'd
that
be
thing
great
just
for
doing
views.
this. Like just because they're both like at the door, it scared the living head out of me. So I'm very very sorry. So yeah, this is the first Christmas party I'd been to with this school, and part of me wants it to be my last. Part of me really doesn't want to miss out on anything else. So for the protection of my friends, because neither of them come off in a particularly good light, we will just refer to them as friend 1 and friend 2, because I haven't had a chance to think up a name. I mean, I've had like nearly an hour, but I've forgotten. Your stories were too good. So yeah, so we went to it was in a hotel not far from town. So I must point out, I spent £21 that night. All of it was on taxis. And I only live about 15 minutes from said hotel. So you're thinking, that's a lot for a taxi. We'll get to it.
Was there a service charge
Steph,
by any chance?
Is this when
No.
you admit you were sick?
No. I must admit,
Alright, so
for
still
once,
just me, right?
in my stories, I am the reasonable adult. In this.
Bullshit.
I am the responsible adult.
Never.
Like, you'll find, and everyone has done it, you blind drunk on a night out, and then something happens, and you go, sober, I need to be a grown up.
Yes. Yeah.
And that happened. so I got there, and everyone was like, "Hey, how you doing? Oh my gosh, you look lovely!" To everybody, not just to me. I mean, I looked beautiful. And so someone went, "I'll get you a drink," and I was like, "Yeah, go." Well, we went. There was about 40 people in this room, and the bar was this big. So everyone was trying to like get to the bar and everything. So the person who was buying me a drink, as a joke, went, "Steph, just like get yourself to the front, they'll serve you." And I went, "Okay then." So I muscled my way to the front and leant forward ever so slightly, because, you know, girl, gotta work with what you got. And
Use the boobage.
and I've got a lot of it. So it's the reason I was served since I was 14. So I mean 18 and completely legal, Your Honour. So I leant forward ever so slightly. There was nothing on show, just the suggestion that it could. And the barman turned around and went, "Hello, Miss Loftus." And I went, "Oh my God, hello." It was a student from a previous school. And I went, I'm gonna... it's your little bar move. So like he came in, bought me a drink, I ran away, and
this is my favorite story of all time already. I am so on board.
So my friends who live further afield had a hotel room. They came downstairs. We were like, "Oh my God, you look gorgeous," and did all that niceties. They went, "You'll never guess what, our room is an absolute mess." And I went, "Cool." And they were like, no, we've made a complaint and we've got free Prosecco all night. Don't buy a drink." And I went, "Oh my God, this is phenomenal." So all night, I didn't pay for a drink because you had a free drink as you walked in. I was in their room. So I had free Prosecco all night. And because the bar prices were so expensive, a few of my friends went, "Sod this, let's go over to Waitrose and sneak a load in." And that's what they did. So people who are responsible grown-ups acted like teenagers that night. It was phenomenal.
I think I know which hotel you mean now as well.
So, which we can't say for legal reasons, but yeah, that one. So, partway, we were sat down, we were having a meal, and friend 1 was sat next to me. Friend 2 was somewhere in the room. But friend 1 went, "I don't eat when I drink." And I was like, "I really think you should have something, because you have a full bottle of litre bottle of gin in your bag, and I've seen you pour it. I think you should have, just at least have your starter, just line your stomach." Yeah. She didn't. So the night continued. There was music. It was great. We were having a swell old time, having a boogie on down, and the night progressed. Everyone got a bit leirier, and then everyone got a bit leirier than that, and then it got to about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and things are starting to wind down. People are making plans to go into town. People are like, "Yeah, let's not stop the night here." So, I don't know what that noise was.
Working at the time.
I was working at a place. So we all went, and we went back into the first little bar lobby area, and we were sat down. I was sat with friend 1. Friend 2 was off in the distance, like I think she was doing shots at this point.
Oh God.
And the problem was somebody else who was doing shots didn't like shots. So the person who was buying them was going, "Shots for everyone." She was going, yeah, thanks very much, handing it to me, and I was knocking it back. So, because that's what people do. They go, "I don't like this. Steph, drink this." And I go, "Okay." And then I drink.
That's what friends are for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So friend 2 was doing shots. Friend 1 was sat by me. We were having a conversation. It was a perfectly normal conversation. I went, "Hang on a second," went to get into my bag, turned round, and she's
Oh.
like that.
Oh,
she
dead.
slumped over. I went, friend one.
Friend one.
Friend one. So I gave her a bit of a shake, and she sat up, and she spoke for the rest of the evening with her eyes closed.
Oh, I love that stage of drunk.
Yes,
I
yeah.
adore that. That stage of drunk where it's the one just after where you can't move your head. You have to go. What?
Yeah.
So
I'm resting my eyes.
she's going, Steph. I was like, it's not a secret. We're in public. You can talk to me in a normal volume. Steph, I'm going to stop at yours tonight. I went, great. All right, then. I need to ring your fella, who I used to work with at a previous place. So we know each other very well. That man has saved my life on many an occasion. So I rang him up and I was like, look, she's in an absolute mess. I'm going to take her home. I'm going to look after her or bring her to you in some form of better condition than she's in now in the morning. And he was like, Steph, you can't. I need her home. You need to put her in a taxi. I was like, no. I don't think you understand. She cannot stand up. I need to get her home and look after her. And he was like, no. You don't understand. I'm working nights. He's a doorman. She has the only key to the house. And I went, oh.
Oh my God.
I went,
No.
he went, it's okay.
Can I
Go
just
on.
say, if this was a play, my dramaturg would be like, yeah, we're keeping that in. That's 5 stakes.
I mean, that is terrible planning.
He was
Mm.
like,
You go away to a Christmas party with the only key in the house.
You
I'm
don't.
sure nothing will go wrong.
well, he wasn't very happy because the promise had been made of, I won't get drunk, it's going to be all right. And she had lied. So I was like, what am I supposed to do? And he was like, look, I've got somebody babysitting my little one, so it'll be fine. And I was like, who's babysitting? He was like, oh, don't worry about it. She's 16, she'll be okay. I was like, I cannot leave a 16-year-old in charge of this mess. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a taxi to your house with her. I will wait until you get home, and then I will get a taxi home. That's sorted. I'm a very responsible adult.
Yeah.
By which point, friend 2, who was already stopping at my house, had twigged the situation. She came over and was like, what we're going to do? I was like, this is the situation. This is what we're doing. I'm going to ring a taxi. So, taxi journey number 2, because I'd already had a taxi to the hotel. So, taxi.
You know what this is like? This is like that bit in Toy Story where they sort of make the plan,
Yes.
like what they're going to do, and then like
Yes.
they draw up the blueprint. And it's
Exactly what is going to happen. So,
like, yeah.
I rang a taxi, and friend 2 was slowly trying to gather up friend 1's belongings.
Just gather up friend 1.
Yes, just gather up
them
friend
up.
1. So by this point, a lot of people had seen friend 1 slumped over in a
Oh,
chair and either
no.
thought friend 1 had died or was going, did you see what she did earlier? And I was like, I don't want to hear it. So there was
What a scenario.
somebody in reception went, there's a taxi outside and called my name. So I was like, brilliant, let's go. Friend 1, can you stand up? I'm just going to have a nap here. No! So friend 2 went, it's okay. We can carry her. I was like, yes, we can. Friend 1 is like this. She'll be absolutely fine. Friend 1 may be like this, but when she's drunk, it's made of lead. So we got her. So she got an arm around me, an arm around friend 2, and we both got an arm around the middle. So we picked her up. Her feet are dragging behind her.
Oh my God.
So we got to a corridor that was not going to fit the 3 of us and barely fit 2 of us. And I was like, what are we going to do? Friend 2 went, I've got her. And I was like, are you sure you've got her? I've got her. So I let friend 1 go. Friend 1 span forward and dropped to the floor, flipping friend 2 over. Now, the whole time, friend 1 had started to overbalance. Friend 2 was screaming, I haven't got her! I haven't got her! I haven't got her! So they both ended up in a heap on the floor in the middle of this hotel's reception area. And
Classy.
Oh.
so a few of us kind of ran up behind, had a giggle, and then picked up friend 1. So we put her in a taxi. Somebody, to my half sober now recollection, was screaming, "Put her in the recovery position!" in the taxi. The taxi driver's going, "Is she going to be okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, she's fine. She's just sleepy." And
Just really wants a nap.
yeah, so we got her back to hers. Now I'd spoken to a fellow went, "Honestly, just throw her on the sofa. I'll be home as quickly as I can. Not a problem." So we carried her in the house, popped her on the sofa, threw a blanket over her. Friend 2 went, just popping upstairs to the toilet. I went, "You do that. I'm gonna stay here." I don't know whether she half heard it, but then friend 1 went, "I need the toilet," and I was like, so after 5 minutes of trying to carry her up the toilets, to which eventually I just shoved her and went, "Crawl." We got to the top of the stairs. Now, friend 1 is wearing a jumpsuit.
Oh,
I went, "I'm out. Tag, you're in. I'm tapping you in. I'm tapping you in, friend 2. This is on you. You're doing it."
oh my God.
Friend 2 undressed the little angel and sorted her out. Now, I'd forgotten there was a small child in the house. And
Oh, this is like a Dario Fo farce now at this point.
Sorry,
Friend
who'd been looking after this small child?
a member of the family
Right.
and they were both supposedly asleep in the little one's room.
Ah, right. Okay.
Right.
So friend 1 is going, "I need to check on her. I need to check." And I was like, "Get yourself into bed. I'll go and check on her." So as I got my hand on the door handle, I went, "I've never met this girl before. I really hope she's asleep."
You just wander in.
So
Oh,
I very quietly pushed open the door to find this 7-year-old girl sat up in bed going, and the niece underneath crying with laughter. So they're on bunk beds, and I reached peak awkwardness and went, "Hello." I'm a friend of friend 1. We're just gonna put her to bed. Don't you worry. The babysitter underneath is crying with laughter. She's like, "I've already heard. I've already been rung ahead. I know what's going on. It's cool. Carry on." So
Oh my God.
we put friend 1 into bed, and she was
Classic.
going, "Stay with me. Stay with me." So friend 2 lay on the bed with her.
Singing Rod Stewart songs.
And I sat on the stairs, at the top of the stairs, like an absolute moron, and we waited. And there was a point where I went, "You're not asleep, are you, friend 2?" And all I got back was, I was like, "Oh, you are. It's cool. Don't worry about it." So I'll just sit here. So about half an hour went by, and all of a sudden, friend 2 sat bolt upright. Now, I hadn't realised she put her hair in a pony, and as she sat up bolt upright, this pony came loose, flipped over, and smacked her in the face. So I was already trying not to laugh. She went, "I'm going to be sick." I went, "No, yeah, you're not. You got no, what are you doing?" She's like, "I'm definitely going to be sick." So she toddled across the hallway, went into the bathroom. I could hear stuff flying everywhere. Like the shampoo bottles went one way, something else. I was going, "I'm not going in there and dealing with it. I'm not doing it."
Mm-mm.
So she came out, and I was like, "You're right." And she went, Yeah. I'm just going to go for a little sleep. And she got into bed with friend 1 in the marital bed of the man who is going to come home in the next 20 minutes. I am still sat at the top of the stairs.
Like some kind of weird watchman of the whole thing. It's
I
like,
started playing Candy Crush because I've got nothing to do.
I am here to tell your story.
oh my God.
So I got a phone call going, "I'm about 10 minutes away." I was like, "Great, I'll call a taxi now." So obviously we're not sat in your living room when you get here. So I called a taxi. I went, friend two. And she sat upright. And I was like, "Gotta go downstairs, gotta find your shoes." And she went, "Okay." So she got up and she stood in the middle of their bedroom and went, where am I? And I went, it's time to go. All right then. And then tried to get back into bed. I was like, no, friend two, this way. Follow the sultry sounds of my voice. This way. So managed to get her downstairs, got her shoes on. The fella comes home. He's like, I'm so sorry about this. I'm like, honestly, this is the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. I can only apologise. I went, she's in bed. She's fine. I went, I think I may have scarred your daughter for life. But apart from that, I just want to apologise. So we got in a taxi. Me and friend two came here. Now, at the time, I'd only got Jasper. Like, my first cat, the black and white one. He's a very unsociable cat, shall we say. So, and whenever I have people over, he sits somewhere and glares at them as though to go, I don't know who you think you are coming in my house. So
I do something similar.
Yes. I don't know where he's learnt it from. So we came in, I turned some lights on. I've also noticed that every time I turn a light on when it's been dark, Jasper squints. Like, he gets really upset. So friend two went, do you think Jasper will sleep with me on my bed tonight? I went, I don't know, you can try. So she grabbed him in a vice-like grip.
Oh, God.
Like this. And Jasper's head was just poking out between her arms, just like blinking SOS. And I was like, no, my friend, you're on your own.
Oh,
So
no.
She toddled up with him to bed. She must have put him down because then a minute all I heard was a scurry and dived under my bed. Like, don't ever do that to me again. So yeah, so that was fine. We woke up the next morning. Everything was okay. We were sat down here. We got a text from friend one going, how did I get home? And I was like, we'll talk to you on Monday. But yeah, that is the story of the weirdest Christmas party I've ever been to. It does, however, finish on a very adorable note at the fact that I happened to catch the lad who turned around and went, hello, Miss Loftus. At some point, we were talking, and we were like, oh, you know, how are things? And he was like, I just want to say that I got a really good English grade and I'm now at university, and that's all because of you.
Aww.
And I went,
Oh my god.
that's really great.
I'm sorry, I tried to get things
went,
from you using my boobs.
I'm just gonna... I'm sorry about the earlier incident. So yeah, that was the little cherry on top. But yeah, so I cannot wait for this December if coronavirus doesn't spoil it all for us. But yeah, so don't go to Christmas parties, people.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you.
Yay.
John's
I'm
put,
so impressed. I'm so impressed you managed to keep the code going all through that story.
Honestly,
Yes.
like the voice in the back of my head was going, "Don't say this name. Don't say this name. Don't say this name."
Oh my
And
god.
it was like a really good episode of Just a Minute.
Thank you.
It was like nothing. Perfect.
John's put, wait, if there was a babysitter, could they stay and let the partner in?
No, because babysitter. Well, the way they were working it out was babysitter was only 16, so babysitter was asleep.
Ah.
Sensible.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but either way, just added to the hilarity of everything. And
You're
the
going to
fact that-
appear in so many people's therapy.
Yeah.
I was going to say, sarcasm is said only halfway through the story, but someone needs to make this story into a video game.
One of those where you make a decision and that's the path.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we Adam, you do the gay daddy dating game.
Okay, let's call it what it properly is. It's Dream Daddy,
It's
the
Dream
daddy dating simulator. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
it's
So we
not-
need
it's
a
not gay,
Christmas
but-
party simulator.
Yeah.
I mean, there probably is one. I mean, it's probably just drinking until you can't see anymore, and then waking up with the HR manager and going, "Oh no,
Not again.
at least you can't fire me!" Hey!
Hey.
Adam, you were going to say you were going to do a story about some celebrities.
Oh yeah,
Adam
Well.
Woodwing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay.
So we all know that the queen of celebrities on this is Hannah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Because Hannah's interactions with celebrities is normally at high class events, and she can then rate them on her smell chart. My interaction with celebrities is a lot less good, mostly for me. So I'll go from in my head I have the three most, not just embarrassing, three most awkward encounters I've had with celebrities, and we'll go from least awkward to what the fuck.
I'm so excited.
Do you know what? I'm not, because I know how this ends. And it ends with the story being told on national radio. So that's
Ooh.
Oh,
That's funny. Fun. So story one is quite nice. So
Before you start, can I just ask, John, can you just be ready on the clipping button? And away we go, Adam.
but yes. So awkward to what the fuck. So we'll start on the awkward end. If you remember Yonks back, so this would have been, I was year 11. So 2009, 10. Let's say 10. 2010.
He's so young.
I'm so old.
James May was doing his Toy Stories things where he'd like try and make. He made like the giant
Love
Lego
that.
house.
Yeah.
He came to my secondary school was a technical college, which meant that they had a good DT department. And that was it.
You should have lots of planes like the
Yeah.
Well,
woodwork.
well, he actually
Planes, not
came.
the
He
flies.
actually came to work with us.
The fly things.
Well, he
The
actually-
aeroplanes.
Yeah, he came to our He came to our school. He took one class at the below me, and they made like a giant Airfix model, a full size Spitworth, but Spitfire, but it was Airfix, and they did that there. And so Jameson was doing some filming. He had his Porsche parked up on the front of the school. And we were like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then during lunchtime, James May wandered out to smoke. And we were like, "That's James May! I know him from the things he's done." That's a direct quote from young Adam, apparently. And we all rushed over there, and he was
more like Matt Berry when you were young than you do.
yeah. He was really nice, really lovely, and we all got his like autographs. And we didn't have phones on us because it was 2010. And if we had a phone with a camera on us, it would take up the size of a small bedroom. And so I've got somewhere on a wall in my childhood bedroom James May's autograph on a wall, like pinned. And we were chatting to him, and a couple of things about him. First off, he's a lovely man. Like he is really passionate about what he does. He smells of smoke because he's an old smoker. And he just dislikes kids. Full stop. Lovely man. Hates kids. I respect him even more. And one guy knocked the gate, and he went. James May looked at him and went, "You're a fucker." And beautiful. Like old curly hair, King Charles Spaniel of a man. And so that was the first time I met him. And he also said that our ties were shit, and I loved him for that. And then in 2015, I went to London to do some to see if I could get on to a student graduate work course thing where they could give you a job. And the people who got through, of the 150 of us, like 12 of us got in. Whoop, I'm of the percentage that is good. We went on the corner into a tiny pub in whatever part of London that was. The bit of London, quite Battersea. No, it wasn't Battersea. London. Fuck it. Hammersmith. It was Hammersmith. I know it was Hammersmith because I made sure to go to the bench where Rick Mail, the bottom bench from Rick Mail. Yeah, I visited there afterwards. I went into this pub, and in the garden was a long, curly-haired gentleman. And I was like,
Is it James May?
it was James May.
Oh my god!
And what happened was
exciting.
he's a really kind of, he likes his privacy. He's a really quiet man, but he ignored everyone. He went, "Your tie was shit." And I was like, I now have to explain to all these new people who, a lot of them, are quite really important for my career, possibly. Like, that man is the head of a Fortune 500 company, and that person, oh god, okay. And then I had to first of all explain to James May why I was there. He's like, "You don't live in London, you live in Shropshire, and it's terrible." Thanks, James.
Why was he? This is so weird.
That is amazing. The amount of people he must meet for him to remember that.
You reckon he remembered my shit tie and probably my
Yeah.
horrible ginger hair at the
Yeah.
time. Just
You sort of also have to question what his filtering system is. Like, what's the what process does
Yeah.
he use? In order
Yeah.
like, has he got charts? Like every
Oh,
day?
I really hope not, because that's leaving a paper trail. So that was the awkward one in which I then had to explain to everyone how I knew him and whatnot. And I've bumped into him every time I go to London. It's like every 5th time I see James May, normally from a distance, and I'm too scared to go, my tie was shit, and see what happens. So that's the kind of awkward one. You know, it's not a very nice meet. It's not like a horrible meeting, but I met. So that's my level of like, oh dear. Now number 2 is it's when I met the magnificent beast that is Greg Davies. So do I. I adore and I respect him massively, which makes what I did worse.
Oh.
It was so my ex's aunt's ex-husband stag do. It's a. I've made a flow chart for us all. And yeah, but we were in Shrewsbury, and it's pronounced Shrewsbury. Get fucked. And we were in Shrewsbury, and so we were like,
John, can you clip that, please?
Yeah,
Clip
yes,
that,
John.
please,
and we got there about 1-2 p.m. and we left Shrewsbury at 4 a.m. And we didn't stop drinking the whole time. And we found, and it was a Sunday night as well. So it was a Saturday night, but it was quite a quiet one because no one gives a fuck about Shrewsbury. Like no one goes, let's go out. Where should we go? Oh, how about that market town? Oh, that's a great idea. Like the pub we went to didn't have an offer on shots. I mean, what the fuck? So about 4 p.m, I was like, I'll get some shots in. That seems like a good thing to do because we've all had a meal, a good meal, thank you, but a meal at about 2 p.m. That's gone. Let's get shots in. We're already fucked. Let's make this worse. So I got a load of B52s out. And I spent about 30 quid on about 20 B52s. Put them down. And 10 minutes later, I went to get more.
Oh,
And then 15 minutes later, I'd spent far too much money on B52s. They are a shit drink, but they're effective.
yeah,
At this
the
point,
job.
yeah, they do. At this point, there's many photos of me from the time being like, wearing someone's flap cap, and I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm a fucking legend. I'm wearing a flap cap. What? And then someone walks in nonchalantly. I have no idea how they walk in nonchalantly to deliver this news. They walked in nonchalantly into the back gear and goes, oh, Greg Davies in there. Really tall. And I did this, and I'm not going to exaggerate what I did. What? Who? No, Greg Davies. I'll be right back. And
Oh shit!
And I genuinely it bounded down like 4 flights of stairs. Like, oh, just gotta go. And I burst into this bar, and then it was Greg Davies, very calm looking man. He'd clearly come in for a drink, and he'd now been recognised, and he was leaving because he'd had his drink, and he was taking a photo with a woman, and it was all very serene. And I just went, fuck! And walked up to him. I went, I'm so sorry. I'm on a stag do, and I'm not sober. So what I'd like to do is hug you. And he went, okay, tiny man. Which, that was lovely. And he cut me and just stroked my head.
Oh,
And I went, oh, you've like, I've been in dark places in my life. And he went, oh no. And We Are Clang was great. He went, yes, it was. Someone rescue me from the drunk. And
no!
I went, okay, I'll go. But thank you. Shook his hand, like both. It was a double handshake, like as if like he's giving me a loan that was keep my house from being taken. It was that level of, oh, thank you, sir. Merry Christmas. No more bar humbug for me. It was that level of like, the ghosts did it all in one night. They said they could. Of course they could. And he went off, and I immediately tweeted saying, I've just drunkenly embarrassed myself in front of Greg Davies. I don't know what to do. And I was like, I'll tag him in it. That way he knows it's me.
No!
For a week, I was blocked. It was great. And this isn't the embarrassing one.
Hold on, he blocked you.
Yeah, he blocked me for like a week, and then I think he went, okay, he's definitely sober by now.
He's got to have dried out by this point.
He's got to have dried out. And that night ended up with me playing with some dogs for 3 hours in the cold in the garden. It was great. Things were involved to keep me going and to not feel the cold.
Squash.
See, the most embarrassing, I think, is best told through what a friend heard. So a friend heard. I got a message from a friend. It was back. They said, "Adam, were you just mentioned on the radio?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that was probably me. I did," and it was BBC Radio 2.
Oh,
And this is entirely my. I was making fun of myself when I did it, but Bill Bailey was on chatting to Graham Norton, and they were having a lovely time. But they were like, and Graham Norton, in his very wonderful way, was like, "Anyone wants to message in with any questions for Bill, and we'll read them out." And I was like, "Oh, I'll send one in. Why not? There's no way this is going to be read out." And then I heard almost immediately Graham Norton asked, "We've got a question here. I'll do it properly. Just hang on. I can imagine this is what he's like. Got a question here from a man called Adam in Leicester. Oh no, that's me. There's no one else listening to this called Adam in Leicester. Who says he's asked a couple of questions. Firstly, why do you know so much about Estonia? How's your Alpine flipcorn? And do you remember when he tickled you in a bar in London?"
Oh no! Oh no!
So
no.
should we go through them one at a time, or should we just jump into the tickle?
I mean,
Let's go through them. So Bill Bailey knows a lot about Estonia.
I'm so stressed out. It's unreal.
So I watched Bill Bailey do a live interview with a bunch of YouTubers, during which he talked about Estonia a lot and why it's where Skype is from, and they're like, oh, they're really proud of Skype, and so that's why I knew that. And Bill's answer to the question was, I know nothing about Estonia. You lie, Bill Bailey. Question 2, I'm still angry about this at the time. So like, you know loads, I heard you. Question 2, how's your Alpine flickhorn? Bill Bailey said, it's fine, I've had it repaired. This is the truth, 1-1. Now, do you remember being tickled by me in a club in London, in a bar in London? Not a club, that'd be even weirder. Right, okay. It was after I was down in London for a sales thing, for sales training. And I was like, oh, it's Friday night. Everyone has to go home. I booked an Airbnb at like 5 p.m. for that night. I'm gonna go out, watch some comedy, and then I'm just gonna chat to some people, and I'll go to the pub and I'll make friends. I did. It was great. It's the first time I saw Daniel Sloss live. It was my first ever time at the Comedy Store. Brilliant, amazing night. I got tickets for the 12:30 show. That's never a good sign. Then afterwards went out into some pubs and just had a chat with people, and Bill Bailey was there. I was like, oh, what do I know about Bill Bailey? I know. What do I know? I'll chat to him.
Don't tell me you performed to his stand-up routines back to him.
No, that'd be the worst. I'm doing that next time I see Bill Bailey.
Leave the man alone.
So what I did was we went up to him. Oh, Bill, thank you, Mr. Bailey. I think we called him because that's somehow worse. Because makes it sound like he's a 1980s policeman, Mr. Bailey. And we were chatting, and he mentioned how he doesn't like it when people hug him because he thinks they're going to tickle him. And I went, what's wrong? Is it the tickling or the deception? And he went, the deception. I went, oh, so I can just tickle you then? And his face went, no.
Oh God!
Fucking hell, Adam, you're that guy.
No, what's worse?
No,
is-
you're that guy.
no. Only to Bill Bailey. To everyone else, I'm fine.
Are you? Are
No.
you fine?
Can we
But
please
but
cite
but
Greg Davies,
but he
please?
had no memory of this in the interview because if there's any place to air that, it would be with Graham Norton. If there's any place to air it, so I'm like,
Yes.
I'm off the hook here. I'm off the hook, and it was like he did not mention the entire interview. And I still to this day think he doesn't know it. But after this interview, a friend of mine messaged me and went, "Was that you who tickled Bill Bailey?" I was like, "Yes, it was. I'm deeply ashamed." And he went, "That's fine, because and this is genuinely, I'm not making this genuinely true." He went, "That's fine. Can I add it to my list?" What? He's got a list of celebrities he's tickled. And as of this again, this was like 20.
That's
this was
creepy.
This was 2016.
I
I
don't
have
think
no-
the time frame is.
No.
that important.
So I don't know if there's any more names on this, but he was only tickling male comedians. Like Al Murray was on the list, Milton Jones was, and Dara O'Brien. And I was like, that's not a thing you should be collecting. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna wash out my brain. So that's how I interact with celebrities.
Oh, I can't believe you gave me shit for smelling people. Why?
That's so much worse. So much worse because they
I didn't even touch them.
you did with your weird aura. Your black aura. Also I did it to one and
Your head jumped to, it's the deception of being tickled, so I now need to follow through on the tickle.
Yeah, that's you're
Yeah.
that guy, Adam.
no,
Like,
no,
you
I
could have
was that
said-
guy.
I will hug you, but I can promise you I'm not going to tickle you
Look,
unless you ask for it.
but looking back, that wouldn't have been as fun a story.
You know what I think we're like as a friendship group, right? We are like,
Oh
That-
no.
yeah, that sort of like in that sitcom that's like really popular, like on Netflix, there's like 50 series of. Like we are those people.
What you're saying is I'm Joey, is all I'm hearing right now.
Well, it's sort of like,
No, you're not
Good.
Joey.
Good. That's oh no.
Adam-
Chandler.
Adam-
You're
the one.
Phoebe.
Oh,
I'm
that's fine.
Chandler.
That's
No.
fine. I'm fine. No, I'm fine. No backsies. No backsies. I'm Phoebe.
Fuck that shit.
Adam's the one who we don't tell him we're going out. Somewhere along the line, he always finds out. He's sort of still there.
I'm a little bit horrified that you wouldn't tell me you were going out.
Well,
Like,
would,
who
those
would date
shirts.
me?
This, that's a question. To put this whole thing in context, by the way, this was me peak drinking, so we're fine. Like as a whole, we're all safe. Every comedian in the world is safe because that Adam drowned in a lot of gin.
Okay. Yeah. H is saying we officially can't take you anywhere. That's true. We can't.
That's official.
There's so much wrong with that story.
Why did you tickle him?
Boy, yeah. Where did?
But he doesn't remember it. He doesn't remember it. So that's
You
fine.
know what? I bet he went home and went, "Oh my god, that guy who tickled me." I said I didn't like the deception of being tickled, so he tickled me.
Wasn't
The only reason he doesn't remember it is because of the bloody counselling he's had to have.
Exactly. Yeah, he's blocked it out.
I mean, we all know Bill and how he works, and if he remembered it, it would have been in a show by now.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Perhaps it's just something he
I mean-
can't talk about.
Or
I mean,
He
what's
wakes
that
up
guy-
in night sweats like, the tickling, the
do you
tickling.
reckon it?
He doesn't want to
No,
give you any more attention. is
no,
probably-
I'm no.
I mean,
No,
at the
what's
very
it-
least, you should have your own parody.
Hang on.
Something about-
Have you remembered a joke about tickling, Adam?
No, I'm now just thinking whether it actually was Bill Bailey or if we just decided it was.
What?
and we just
What?
thought it was a man with a beard and long hair. Because that's so much worse.
Adam.
I don't know. That's the thing.
Oh God,
I feel-
Adam, let's end this now.
Let's draw
Before,
a line.
because you currently have a very large hole in the ground, and you're at the controls of a JCB.
Mate, I'm gonna dig this shit.
You go and have a
This is
think
what-
about what you've done and what your life choices have been.
My life.
Someone called DJ
It's like a low
Tortillas
budget-
has just come into the chat and says, "How are you?" A bit stunned,
God.
to be honest, mate.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest.
Sort of a bit disappointed in
Yeah,
Adam.
we thought we knew him.
No, you know this.
Sort
Andy.
of.
Old beardy men.
Does anyone else feel like they've taken a trip inside Adam's head?
Sadly, yes. Adam Unwin, ladies and gentlemen, he
I don't think
needs
I want
help.
to clap it.
Well, no, I know what you mean.
Can we
There you go.
boo? Is that is that acceptable?
I suppose it's me. I've got about 3 minutes, I reckon. So let's go for it. Right, beer story. I've got a reputation. I don't know if you know this, but I've got a bit of a reputation as being a bit of a beer monster, which isn't actually.
What?
No, it's actually not. It's not true. What it is, a lot of people have met me at 1448.
Right, yeah.
I'm working class, and one of the things of 1448 for those people who've done it is there's a free bar, basically.
And it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
there's a keg of beer which the talent can help themselves to. I'm working class. I'm not going to turn down free beer. But you'll admit, Adam, we were in a play together in 1448.
Yeah, we
I
were.
didn't get drunk until after the final show. You know what I mean? I was good like that.
You were.
So I have got this reputation that when he's drinking all the time, and I'm not. I'm really not. You've shared a room with me, John. Yes, you have. Oh, but you've shared a room with me. We should point this out at 1448. When I was
Mitigating circumstances.
a beer
eh?
monster. But in the past, I have done a lot of drinking, and I've been out with a lot of drinkers. And when I was younger, and I'm talking like 19, I used to go out with this group of lads, and there was two of them in particular, Phil and Andy, who were big guys anyway, but they were absolute beer monsters. I mean, absolute beer monsters. And Phil used to play hockey.
We should definitely get them on the podcast.
No, we
Yes.
shouldn't. No, we
Yes.
shouldn't. No, we shouldn't.
Yes.
Phil used to play hockey, and every so often, because we'd just go out on a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday night. That's, yeah.
Sunday?
Yeah.
You
Right.
madman.
He'd sometimes bring some of his hockey wallers with him. You know, these young lads who played hockey with him in this team. And he'd, come out with us tomorrow. So they'd come out and he'd be like, nah. And I always used to take them to one side at the start of the night and go, don't try and keep up with them two. Like, they will buy you drinks. Like, don't feel you've got to drink them. Just put them to one side. Because whether they're trying to, like, peer pressure you into it or whatever, but don't do it. You'll regret it. Anyway, this one night, he says he's got to go and pick up this guy who's coming out with us from the hockey team. And we've got to go to his house. And bearing in mind, we're like 19, 20, so living with folks and stuff like that. We've got to go to his house. And he's coming to the pub with us. Okay. So we went to his house, and you knew this guy was going to be a character. Because there was his dad in the bin.
What?
There was his dad in the bin.
What? Like the wheelie bin?
Yeah,
What?
the wheelie
What?
bin.
Like,
a
are we
wipe
talking?
or a
Are we
slate?
talking?
Right.
Was it
Making
head
a
up
note
or
of
is
this. Thank you very
head
much
up
for
or
reply.
feet up?
He's standing in the wheelie bin, jumping
That-
up and down,
Right.
trying to compress.
Push the trash. That's acceptable.
It's not, Steph.
It's not what you expect to see.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So we kind of went, is this guy? Go on, Mike.
How tall is this man?
We're talking probably, you know, high 5 foot. Wheelie bin's about what, 3 foot?
He didn't need lifting out.
Well, that is.
I didn't
That is
see him.
hilarious.
I didn't see him get in the bin or get out the bin. So he could, for all I know, he could
Still
still be
there
there.
Yeah.
Going, well, this
Well,
was a mistake.
Road trip.
Anyway, he shouts up to his son, who doesn't answer, and then he shouts up again, and he doesn't answer. He shouts up again, and eventually his son opens a bedroom window, sticks his head out, and it's very obvious he's just come out the shower. And he's like, I'm having a shower. And he's like, well, we're going to the pub. Wait 5 minutes, I'll get ready. And we were all like, he ain't going to get ready in 5 minutes. Like, we're going to the pub. And Phil's like, no, we'll come down. We're going to the pub. So we went to the pub. Phil waited for him. Sure enough, 40 minutes later, they rock up at the
Never
pub.
wait.
Yeah, never wait. Never wait. So I do my public service and I take this kid to one side and I basically go, don't try and keep up with them two. You'll get really ill. I may as well have said that in fucking Russian, mightn't I?
Don't keep ski. You'll get ill ski.
John, can you clip that?
Excellent. Richard.
I speak.
It
very
gets
good
to 11 o'clock. This kid is slaughtered. I mean, he's fucking gone, right? We're in a pub. Surprise, surprise. We're on one of those tables with the arched benching around it.
Oh yeah.
So we're all sitting there. And he is now at this. He's at that point. He's at the. Oh, he's right.
Love it.
He's sitting right on the edge
Oh,
of this,
no.
right? And he starts going to one side like this. And slowly the pub goes quiet. Right?
Oh, I love it so much.
Oh no.
And he just goes further and further and further. And he's like, it's like he's at a 45-degree angle off the
Beautiful.
edge of this chair. And the entire pub is looking at him.
Right.
And he's still like... And then all of a sudden, there's just that little tweak too much. And he just goes on the floor.
Oh my God.
And then... I've no idea how he did this. It was like he used his hip as a spring. And he like bounced back up.
What is this
It
madness?
was amazing. He just kind of like bounced back up, stood there. The entire pub's looking at him, and he just goes, "It's all right, lads. I'm in total control."
Did he play the lead? Did he play the lead character in Flubber?
He should have done.
He played the flubber.
He
This
owned-
is the difference
I
between
am
girls
the
and
flubber.
boys.
Mm.
Because if a girl starts to go, girls like will go, oh no, like put her in the middle so she doesn't. Boys go, shh, he's gonna fall.
Yeah. Sit
He's
and
gonna fall.
wait.
Watch him hurt himself.
Mm.
Like, and that's the thing.
It's like if one person and a bunch of lads falls asleep on a train, we will leave him
Mm.
and then knock on the window and be like, "Wait."
Whereas
"Oh no, he has the keys."
And then
I-
came to wake me up and told me that I'd missed my stop.
I
What? That's the worst time to tell.
Didn't know.
I once had to stay in the Travelodge in Worcester, which is a fucking terrible place. Like Travelodge, sue me. That fucking weekend was horrendous. And I woke up the Sunday morning. Now, I wasn't drinking. I was there for Worcestershire Film Festival. So I was like, I was doing stuff. I wasn't drinking. I opened my door Sunday morning to find a guy asleep outside my room. And he got like a blanket and he was curled up asleep on the floor. And I'm like,
Oh, I thought
This is
he
weird
was stood
room
up.
service.
right?
I thought he was stood up.
No.
Like, I had images of him like sleeping under his arm, like a swan.
So I'm like, what the fuck? And then a door opens and a guy comes out and he goes, "He's out here," and it was their mate. Right?
But then looked for him in the room first.
So,
Not in the bathroom.
Is
Oh,
he
he
in the
might-
tiny kettle?
Yeah.
No, he's not in the tiny kettle.
so I then said I didn't order this, which didn't get a laugh, and I thought that was a much better joke
That
than
deserves a laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people like that. Right, I've done it. I've been incredibly ill, but not anymore. The hangovers last too long. But yes, this guy, I still don't know what this guy's name was, and he only ever came out drinking with us once more, and he didn't come out after that because we called him Total Control. That's your nickname, mate.
Beautiful.
And his dad's probably still in the bin.
Probably.
There you go. I could have done. I had got a longer story, but I figured it's not going to happen tonight, so we'll leave it there. So thank you very much.
Gentlemen.
Cheers, Dave.
No worries, mate.
Oh, don't click. Oh.
Right, we have a little bit of an advancement on what we were talking about. The person, right, chat. Bear with us for a second. The person we were
Talk
talking,
amongst ourselves.
yeah, the person we was talking about earlier
Uh-huh.
has said he may be free next Tuesday, but he might not be free until 8:30. Is that a problem?
Yeah. It's only
No,
an hour's show.
I don't think it's a problem that we.
We're going to start changing times for people.
I'm not saying changing times.
We're starting the doors to anarchy.
We'll just
Start recording on a
I
Wednesday.
mean, in all fairness, there, Milo's been across your sofa twice
This is true.
Yeah.
tonight. So, I mean, if that's not anarchy,
Okay.
we may as well just go whole hog.
What we're hoping is next week we're doing the lock-in, and we may have a guest on. Shall we say that?
Yeah, let's say that.
let's
Just
say
put
that.
it out.
We
When-
may have a guest on. It will be worth tuning in. So that'll be we'll
Oh,
start.
without a doubt.
We'll start at 7:30, but our guests might not join us till 8:30. But we'll do some shit before then anyway. That's
Lovely.
fine.
Hell yeah, we will.
A big thank you to McMath51 who has followed us. So
Yay!
Thank
Big
you,
up.
Matt 51.
and I think that's it. Yeah, basically, if you've enjoyed that, kofi.com/stories from the smoke room. This stream will be on the YouTubes a bit later tonight.
The Utu.
The YouTubes.
It'll be on the U-bend.
Thank you, chat, for being awesome as always. Thank you, John, for your clipping. Thank you, U4, for being great.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Ah.
You're my
Thanks,
favourite
Alan.
person called Dave who's here right now.
Is there any follow up before we go, chat? Is there anything that you'd just like clarification on before we go? Is there any final questions?
No
We've
comment.
got-
Well, I mean, sort of just what is going on in the world.
Oh.
Oh, John.
Time for that.
John, bless him, has
Should we-
actually just
should we
posted a
park
link
that?
to our YouTube channel.
Oh, yay!
Oh.
John is better at
fucking
admin than we are.
Subscribe.
John is John T. I love him. I love
Yes,
him.
we'll
I'm gonna
do,
come my
we'll do.
I'm gonna come my first kid
I've-
after him.
John,
What a decent
would John be our Twitter for us?
Yeah, actually, that might not be a bad idea because I'm shit at
He's
it.
clearly better.
He's
at,
better at
you
it
know.
than I am. That's without a doubt.
Well, let's sort that out. Let's not
Yeah.
do our admin live.
Anyway,
Let's not do our admin live. Right, so I'm going to end the recording for the YouTube. So bye, everyone. Bye.
bye.